Hey, what's up? We're married. I'm Brock.
I'm Tay.
Johnson.
Not official yet, but on the way.
On the way, we're working on it. So I had no idea that so much went into the process of changing your name.
Yeah,
Such a big thing.
I thought about like, oh, I gotta change it on my IDs. What I didn't think about was like all of the utilities, credit cards, bank, like all of that stuff.
It's a lot. In this video, we're going to talk about some of our favorite wedding details, little things
Yeah.
that we loved from our wedding day.
I think we'll kind of start with the big stuff though.
Talk about your dresses.
Yeah, I
plural.
had 3 dresses, which I know you're like, why do you need 3 dresses? What is the point? Each one is on for like 45 minutes. And you're right. My ceremony dress, I actually had it on for like, I don't know, I put it on at like 2 o'clock and I didn't take it off until like 6 o'clock. So I did have it on for a while. I got most of my pictures in it, but it was a ceremony dress. And so it was big and poofy and like, I don't know, timeless silhouette.
Timeless, elegant, a little bit more formal maybe.
Yeah.
A little bit more traditional
And then,
maybe.
but when I was trying on dresses, there was this other dress that I also couldn't stop thinking about. If I had to only pick one dress, I still would have chose my ceremony dress, but because I could have 2 dresses, I went back and I got the second dress and I decided to wear that for the reception. I got some fun pictures in it. I got to do our first dance in it. It was a dress that was easier to dance in because it was tight. There was less dress to get in the way. And I'll be selling that one, which wasn't something that had occurred to me until I started thinking about getting a second dress. And then my third dress was my mom's wedding dress. I'm fortunate that she kept it and she was totally cool with me reimagining it. She's 5'2" and got married barefoot on the beach. So it went to like the middle of my shin and it looked ridiculous. So I cut it into like a mini dress in the front and left the train, which was super fun, and it turned out perfect. So those were my 3 dresses.
I had 2 suits, but only one of them is the one we'll talk about. The second one was just a stretchy one that I wouldn't rip on the dance floor. But the first suit, which she really encouraged me, she was like, you know, it's your wedding day, our wedding day, and everything's all about the bride and her dresses, and so much goes into that. But like, you should look really good and feel really good too. So I went to a place called So Generously in Seattle, and over like a 1.5-year process, had a custom made, custom fit suit where I got to talk about every single little detail with every button and every hem and every stitch. It turned out really, really well. It's kind of like a dark foresty green, but depending on the light, it changes a little bit. Obviously, I'm sure you're seeing the pictures, but really, really happy with the way the suit turned out.
Yeah, I mean, the bride gets like this whole day, if not multiple days, of dress shopping, and it's this big secret, and it's like the biggest part of the wedding day, other than actually getting married. And I don't see why the groom shouldn't have like a super exciting, really special outfit too.
Especially if that's them.
Yeah.
Which that's me.
Yeah.
And then with my red suit, I had like with my green suit, I had a red heel. I can't even speak right now. With my green suit, I had a red shoe, which was really, really cool. Your shoes, you want to talk about your shoes?
Yeah, so my ceremony dress was blush, and then my reception dress, I want to say that one was considered ivory. So none of them were bright white. Even my mom's dress wasn't bright white, and it made it really hard for me to find bridal shoes because almost every bridal shoe on the market is bright white, and that wasn't gonna look good with my dress. It was gonna make my dress look dirty. But I found these amazing Jimmy Choos that are like completely covered in pearls, and they're an off-white color, and they looked so good with my dress. And despite me having 3 dresses, I didn't take those off all day. Those went with every dress, and I'm obsessed with them still.
And then I had a pair of dancing shoes that were just a pair of Nike high tops that were really cool. Next up, let's tell them about our guest book, which wasn't a traditional, big blank book.
Yeah, they're on the rise now, but when we booked them 2 years ago, no one knew about them. It's called After the Tone, and they ship you like more like a old school looking phone.
Yeah, like a landline from your house phone.
Yeah, landline, like still like with the wire and everything, And they're colorful. They have white, black, turquoise, green,
I didn't know
pink,
they had that many colors.
orange,
Wow.
like so many colors. So they will match any colors of your wedding, and we had that on its own little table, and people can leave voicemails for you. and then they send you the digital recordings of all the voicemails, so you get to hear people's voices, which is really fun. I think people can say more than if they're just writing, and then you can take your favorites and put them all on a vinyl if you want, which is really cool too.
One of my favorite things that we did, I don't know when we came up with this in the planning, but couches around the dance floor.
Yeah.
So smart. A huge tip that we'd give is couches on the dance floor, because like there's people who don't want to dance, but they still want to be involved, they still want to be around. And with couches there, like we just had everyone just lounging and just hanging out.
Yeah, like my dad and my brother did not step foot on the dance floor, but they sat on the couch that was right centered with the dance floor. And so I was dancing and looking at them and talking to them, and like it felt like I still spent so much of my night with them despite them never being on the dance floor and me never stepping foot off the dance floor. And I think that's really important, because you're gonna have grandparents or people who just aren't dancers or little kids or whatever it might be, and they still want to be involved. And if you don't have couches, then they either have to like pull a chair up, or they sit at the table and there's like a table in the way and then another chair and like flowers, and they're just so disconnected. So it keeps like everyone together.
You did a really good job of planning out all the colors and like making sure everything
I'm like, yes, I did.
looked. You did. Everything looked very in place in Jackson. Like it didn't look out of place. It didn't stick out. Like our wedding didn't stick out like a sore thumb, which I know something we've talked about. We wanted it to look very organic. Can you maybe talk about some of the colors we chose and how you achieved that feeling?
Yeah, so like we really wanted an outdoorsy, like embracing nature kind of wedding. And so if we're gonna do that, it didn't make sense to have a super curated wedding, a super modern wedding. So we didn't have bright white and we didn't have black, because you don't really see those in nature.
Yeah.
We had a lot of like natural wood tones, and then we took a lot of inspiration from the wildflowers. So I was on Pinterest just scrolling, and if I saw any wildflower looking bouquets or anything like that, I included that in like my vision board. And we were like, here's our giant palette of like 8 colors.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna incorporate all 8 of these colors in any way that we can. And so we took that from the bouquet and then just carried that into every other aspect. So if you look in our tent, all of our flowers are very different. My favorite picture, we'll maybe put it up like right here, of the aisle. If the benches weren't there, it would look like the flowers had just grown out of the ground. Like they fit so perfectly. And then if you look at the tabletops or the linens on the table, some tables had yellow, some tables had purple, and some tables had yellow with like a pattern. And so that kept it from ever looking
matchy.
Yeah, like take this organic feeling and just have it flow into everywhere. We wanted it to feel like it had no footprint, like everything was already there and we just showed up. Speaking of nothing being too matchy, I did the same with the bridesmaids dresses. So I did want it to be a little bit cohesive there, just because the groomsmen were gonna be matching with their suits. So the bridesmaids all wore some shade of pink, but I let them pick whatever pink they wanted. Some of them even leaned more purple. And then I let them pick whatever dress they wanted. So they were all the same material, but completely different cuts, completely different colors, and it looked beautiful.
Looked so good.
And obviously that fit in with our wedding theme. One thing that I noticed, and I think you can really see it in pictures, is because everyone chose the color and everyone chose the fit, they chose something that they all felt like they looked really good in. And that shines through in pictures. They all look so confident and so happy in the pictures. And I know that like even day to day, if I go to the store and I'm wearing an outfit that I don't love on me, like my body language changes.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
I did not want that to shine through in the pictures at all. And our bridesmaids and groomsmen all look like they think they're the hottest people alive, which I love.
Yeah. And then the final little detail that we wanted to point out was our dessert, which we didn't do a local bakery. We ordered dessert delivered from Milk Bar, which if anyone is a dessert fan or is a fan of the show Chef's Table on Netflix, they did an entire special about the chef, Christina Tosi, that's how you say her name, who is the owner of Milk Bar, which is just like, I'm not even gonna go into detail detail of the documentary because it's so good. Just be prepared to have some dessert with you when you watch the documentary because you're gonna be really hungry. But she makes these amazing, they taste homemade and they taste just
The
so
desserts
rich.
are phenomenal, but the documentary will make you
Yeah.
fall in love with the company,
Yeah.
not just what they create.
Totally. So we had them deliver desserts. So we had like cake pops and our actual wedding cake.
We had truffle cake balls.
Our actual wedding cake was a birthday cake, flavored cake. It was basically a birthday cake that we just took two of them and stacked them on top of each
Yeah.
other and called it our wedding cake. What other desserts did we have?
We had 3 different flavors of cake ball truffles, 3 or 4 different flavors of cookies. In hindsight, I should have ordered more dessert. I had it for 3 bites per person, and they were all like bite-sized pieces for the most part, and we ran out. So
And that's surprising because there wasn't even an announcement made like dessert is served. So
Yeah.
we were worried that
I thought people like
didn't even eat dessert, and then
Yeah,
we found out the
didn't
other
know it
day that
existed.
like dessert ran out.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's our crowd or if it's the dessert we served or what, but we had dessert out from the time that dinner was served until the end of the night, so maybe that was part of it. What I'm saying is order more dessert than you think you'll need. I looked it up and it was like, oh, 3 pieces per person is the recommended whatever. Just order like 4 or 5. You can take the dessert home with you if it's not a destination wedding. People will grab some at the end of the night before they head out, like especially if it's out for multiple hours, people are gonna go back. So yeah, just order more.
Thanks so much for watching. Let us know in the comments what questions you have about our wedding because we're obsessed with talking about it.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe.